There's no way to run a high-performing gym unless you have a high-performing staff. And while this is a big topic with a lot of skills to master, today we're going to cover one very specific skill set that follows from a mindset that is an underappreciated key of creating a team of high performers and, importantly, keeping them performing at a high level. My name is Mark Fisher from businessofunicorns.com, and I'll just say briefly, if you like watching my face say words, you might like me saying words inside your ear holes. For more fitness business musings with my non-sexual life partner, Michael Keeler, Business of Unicorns co-founder, head down the description box below and check out the Business of Unicorns podcast. If you want, you can subscribe there and subscribe to this YouTube. Now, let's talk about one weird trick for helping your staff perform better. And it's all based on something called the Pygmalion effect. The Pygmalion effect is a psychological phenomenon in which high expectations lead to improved performance in a given area. Now, the dark side is it also means low expectations lead to worse performances. And I'll just say briefly, the Pygmalion effect is so named after a famous play by George Bernard Shaw that many of you viewers might be familiar with, the Broadway musical My Fair Lady, of which your video auteur Mark played the role of Alfred Doolittle, Eliza's dad, when I was 15 years old in high school. With a little bit of luck, it was something like that. I don't know.
I got to be there in the morning.
I like musicals, what can I say? So another way to think about this, and I realize this sounds almost woo, but I don't think it's at all. I think it's just cause and effect, is that if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's a quote from Wayne Dyer. I think it's probably fair to say he is alluding to the most metaphysical interpretation of this concept, but overall, understand that if you are looking for evidence of your team performing well, and importantly, you're pointing that out to them, you're gonna get more of what you're focused on. So the most specific manifestation of this is constantly looking to catch your team doing things right. So here are a few specific ways that you can do this, because that sounds good in theory, but I find in practice a lot of people actually just forget. They don't have good systems for being positive. So here are some things you can do. First of all, you have no doubt seen my video about how I run my one-on-ones, and if not, check the description box below. That'd be a good one to check out. But I start all of my meetings with the gains report, with accomplishments, with achievements, where each meeting with my team member, we start by them having opportunity to share with me the things that are going well, because the nature of the beast is oftentimes they're doing cool stuff I don't even know about. And over time, that can get very toxic if your team member feels like they're doing cool things that aren't even being seen or acknowledged, and then you're focused on things where they're messing up. I think it's very important to build in systems where they can share with you the things that they're doing well. Another opportunity, never pass up the chance to share positive gossip. So if you get positive feedback about a team member from either another team member or a member of your staff, always pass that on to them. So just get that in your head that if you hear the nice thing, then you pass on the nice thing. Another thing worth considering here, and this isn't strictly necessary, but sometimes you might actually go so far as to create a tracker. I know this is getting very, very trackery McGee here, but you might want to develop some kind of spreadsheet that you check in on a weekly basis and just make sure, is there anyone on my team that I'm missing, that I'm not finding opportunities to shed a light on, to acknowledge, to thank for the many good things that they're doing every day to support you and your business. And finally, I want to give you one other pro tip here that I really want to be clear about, which is it's not enough just to say good job. You have to be specific in your positive feedback about what it was that they did so well. There's two versions of this that can be super impactful. The first one is when you know someone on your team is working on something and you know it's hard for them, and you know that they got beautiful wobbly little baby deer legs because this is not a skill they're comfortable with, but they're putting in effort and they're starting to see some traction. Whew. When you see and note and acknowledge that, that can feel really, really good. That's a very powerful form of acknowledgement. Related, when you see something that a team member is doing that you believe is reflective of a superpower, of a talent, of a real innate skill that they have, that is another thing that I think is very important to acknowledge, because understand, part of what we're doing here is, forgive me, but white magic. You're casting spells. You're speaking over this person, the things you're doing well. You're helping build their confidence, their assuredness. And over time, that's part of the positive feedback loop that allows your team to not only perform well now, but continue to perform well over time, as well as optimally create greater and greater heights of performance. Now, I want to say briefly here, we do want to be honest about mindset, because as I suggested in the intro, there is an inverse of the positive Pygmalion effect, which is to say that if you find yourself getting the place with a team member, and I'd even put vendors on this list too, and you know every time you think of them, you just feel, Okay, that's kind of on you, right? That suggests that maybe there's a conversation that needs to be had. Because in many situations, if you're not good with conflict, the really unhelpful phenomenon that plays out is you're not saying the things that need to be said and you're building up beef with somebody but not saying it. And by the way, that is super not cool. And basically because it's unethical, right? You're developing these judgments, but you're not stress testing it against the person. You're not creating space for what you don't know. You're not creating space for their experience. So we gotta be having these conversations along the way and keep yourself clean with your team. And then of course, in the extreme end of this, if you're getting to the place where you can't Pygmalion affect them in a positive way because they are incompetent, well, then we need to have another conversation too. And listen, I know that letting people go is not the most fun part of our job as gym owners, but it is the thing that needs to happen sometimes. Now, usually the first step here is you'll give them some specific performance improvement plan. You have hopefully followed all our advice on this channel here and done things like CPR. You've escalated from the content to the pattern to the relationship. There's ideally a written track record of the conversations you've had, and then you can offer one final opportunity for very specific performance metrics to be hit by X date. Before, with all the love and all the belief in their internal greatness, you wish them well and help them find their next professional journey. It occurs to me that success in business and certainly in leadership is largely an inside job. It is your mindsets, your habits of thinking, the way you choose to see situations. They'll always have an outsized impact on the world around you. And I think that's not only by opening up possibilities and creativity for you to think of strategies that are going to move your business, but for you to see the best in the people you work with as they develop their unique skill sets in service of a shared mission for you and your business. And that is a good way to spend our life. All right, friends, for more about what we do at Be4U, head over to businessofunicorns.com, where you'll find out more about how we help gym owners just like you create more income, more impact, and more take-home income. I'll see you soon for another video where I will share more actionable tips, psychological frameworks, and yes, philosophy